Good afternoon. This is Caleb here with Indiana Weather Online, Indiana Weather Network. Wanted to come on here give you guys a little bit of a radar update, but also we have a new severe thunderstorm warning coming in. This was actually the cell that we were going to be talking about here the most. It has a really nice pocket of some really intense winds exiting Noble County, coming to northern DeKalb County, LaGrange County, and southern Steuben County. Radar is estimating this at about 66 miles per hour. So between 60 and 70 miles per hour, a little bit stronger in northern Noble County here just a few minutes ago. If you play it back, right in here, just north of Kendallville near South Milford, we saw in a really intense gust start to develop here in northern Noble County, coming near State Road 237. This was approaching 70 miles per hour, 70, a couple thousand feet off the ground. So likely seeing those 60-mile-per-hour winds mixing their way down to the surface. So interior room away from windows. If you're in the Ashley area, Angola area, prepare for pretty strong straight line winds. This is not a very wide swath, quite narrow, in fact, and it's really this cell right in here, just northwest of Kendallville. This is exiting Noble County, going to impact the Steuben County, DeKalb County line in extreme portions of southeastern LaGrange County. You can see this bowed out, this apex appearance here. Here comes the next radar scan. Those strong winds continuing in Noble County and northern DeKalb County. LaGrange County, this storm is now exiting you, but we are seeing those stronger winds mixed down to the surface right in here. You can see kind of that bowed out appearance. This is what we call a rear inflow jet. You have those stronger winds mixing down to the ground. At least 60-mile-per-hour winds with embedded pockets of perhaps up to a little bit stronger that we saw here in northern Noble County, perhaps 60-plus miles per hour near the South Milford area, north of Kendallville, north of US 6. This is moving northeast at about 45 to 55 miles per hour. Current forward motion on this, according to the warning, looks like they have it at 50 miles per hour. So this is moving northeast at about 50 miles per hour. It did broaden out just a little bit, but we are still seeing those strong winds near the Ashley area, right around 60 miles per hour along State Road 4 in State Road 327. This is going to come just on the south side of Angola, coming up to US 20, and eventually coming near the toll road, I-90, I-80. Looking around the region, special weather statement for Fort Wayne, Indiana. For the north side of town, think around the DuPont area and Leo Cedarville area, winds up to 50 miles per hour in penny-size hail. We will have to watch this storm for any intensification that it may have. We also have another storm in southern Whitley County we're keeping an eye on. Has some gusty winds currently associated with it. Right in there on the south side of town. Have to keep an eye on this southern storm as well. Currently the strongest storm that is exhibiting winds of in excess of 60 miles per hour or close to 60 miles per hour, currently in northern DeKalb County and southern Steuben County. This is currently where the strongest storm is currently here in Indiana. This is round one. Round one is getting ready to exit Indiana, and this is kind of a unique setup here. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning. We'll go ahead and talk about that here first. So winds up to 60 miles per hour and penny-size hail. We were just talking about that Lee or Cedarville cell for possible intensification, and the National Weather Service go ahead and slap in a warning on that for seeing the winds are a little bit stronger than 50 miles per hour. Going to go ahead and put a warning on that for 60 miles per hour. So baseline severe thunderstorm warning, as well as hail up to quarter size in diameter. So we have two severe thunderstorm warnings and a couple other cells down near the Bluffton area. Those are sub-severe, just some heavy rainmakers right now. A little bit of lightning in those as well. Up here to the north for our stronger cell, you can see a really strong gust front coming into the Ashley area. This is northern DeKalb County, southern Steuben County, right on the Steuben-DeKalb County line, right in there, coming up on I-69 north of Waterloo, and this is moving northeast at 50 miles per hour, going to come along US 20 and skirt pretty close to the Angola area, if not just a little bit south. So if you're in the Angola area, Ashley, it's probably on top of you right now in terms of the strongest winds. These are winds up to about 60 miles per hour. It was a little bit stronger in northern Noble County. If I hit play right back in here, you can see where the winds, those bright pinks showing up right in there. You can see, watch it cross that circle there, right there. It's kind of hard to see, but we had some winds perhaps mixing down close to 70 miles per hour, not ruled out. A little bit of a downburst there. But we do have some embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour within both of these warning boxes, whether you're in central and southern DeKalb County, northeastern Allen County, or the DeKalb Noble County line, or Steuben County line, sorry, as these storms are going to be moving towards the Ohio area here pretty soon. This is kind of a conditional setup that we had here today. A little bit better ingredients in Northwest Ohio currently. The atmosphere is a little bit more unstable in that vicinity, thankfully, versus Indiana. But what we have going on here, this is a remnant storm complex left over from storms yesterday. They moved out of Illinois this morning and moving across Indiana right now. As you notice, you can kind of see this backward comma head shape to it a little bit. And as you hit play, there's a little bit of low-level spin associated with this. This is because we have what's called an MCV. We saw some questions on our mesoscale discussion that was posted a little bit ago on IWO about what remnant MCV is. An MCV is essentially, well, the term of it is a mesoscale convective vortex, and that's a fancy term for this complex of thunderstorms have kind of developed its own little low pressure center. That's the best way to put it. So there's a little bit of low pressure associated with it, a little bit of spin on the backside of these storms, and that can help initiate new thunderstorms out ahead of it, and can also prolong the longevity of these thunderstorms associated with the complex as well. Now, something to watch is if these storms are able to organize a little bit more, an MCV can keep them going a little bit. So that's something that we're keeping an eye on. Thankfully, they haven't organized to extreme yet, but we have reached baseline severe thunderstorm criteria in a couple different instances today. First, back near the Rochester area, and then reorganizing just on the north side of Fort Wayne. Embedded pockets of 60 miles per hour. Penny-size hail on the Angola cell also noted, and then quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds on the Leo Cedarville cell, just to the southeast of Auburn, moving towards Hicksville, Ohio. So we got Defiance County and Paulding County, Ohio, for areas downstream, and then Montpelier, Ohio, as well. If you have any people or friends in Northwest Ohio, this complex will be moving in their direction. Watch out for ponding on I-69. Just torrential rainfall falling all the way from the toll road all the way down to the north side of Fort Wayne. Think Lima Road, that area there from about PFW. Just torrential rainfall is falling as well. So do watch out for ponding and any hydroplaning issues that may result thereof. For the remainder of the day, though, today, this is round one. We're likely going to see a lull in activity before another round of showers and thunderstorms potentially moves in overnight tonight. It's a big question mark on how strong those are going to be. Damaging winds is going to be the primary hazard with those if they're able to organize. And a lot of it will be determined by how quickly we can destabilize or recharge the atmosphere after a cloud cover and rain moves out. So this batch of rain is coming through a little bit later in the day compared to what we saw yesterday. Yesterday, we were able to destabilize the atmosphere very quickly. That allowed for a couple supercells to develop across central Indiana along Highway 18, 218, 124. And we saw some very large hail yesterday, some significant hail in Miami County, upwards of 2 inches in diameter. We saw some significant hail damage over there. Thankfully, nothing like that is going on here today. We don't expect significant hailstones here today, but we could have damaging winds, hail up to quarter size perhaps, or a spin-up tornado can't be ruled out. But it's largely conditional on how the atmosphere is going to be able to recharge, redevelop, for another round, potentially later this evening, overnight tonight. It's kind of a big question mark. It's really just a waiting game just to see, all right, these storms are now moving out. Are we going to be able to recharge, destabilize for another round potentially later today? So something to watch here as well. So I have two different screens up on my map. So if I draw a line right down the center, on the right side of your screen, this is what we call relative velocity. This is showing the winds in both speed and direction within these storms. And on the left side of your screen, this is reflectivity. This is showing where the heaviest precipitation is, where the rain is falling the heaviest. And that is the setup that we have here right now. Currently on the right side of your screen, I'll circle the pockets of brighter red. Right where you see these brighter pinks kind of showing up, these are pockets of embedded winds up to 60 miles per hour. Southern Steuben County, northern DeKalb County, and then southern DeKalb County, northeast Allen County. We have a couple embedded pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour. So these are the areas of most concern right now, primarily along the I-69 corridor and east. If you're in extreme northeast Indiana, north of Fort Wayne, those are the areas that we're watching right now. Could have some pockets of embedded winds up to 60 miles per hour. We saw some stronger wind gusts perhaps mixed down in northern Noble County north of Kendallville. I'd be curious to know if there's any some tree damage along the State Road 3 corridor here, like Wayne Center, Milford. Really bright reflectivity there a few minutes ago. So winds perhaps up to 60 plus miles per hour in extreme portions of northeast Noble County. So I'd be curious to know if there's any tree damage there. Wouldn't be surprised to see some reports pop in from that vicinity there. These storms are getting ready to exit Indiana into Ohio, which is good news. They're moving northeast at about 50 miles per hour, so they're fast movers today, which will also help with the hydrologic impacts. Our soils are saturated. If these were slower moving, the flood risk would increase thereof as well. So zooming in here a little bit, looking at the two storms currently, Steuben County up here to the north, the Angola area. This is our first severe thunderstorm warning. Pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour just south of Angola, east of Ashley. You can see this bowed out segment right in here near the Ashley area. And this is moving off to the east-northeast at 50 miles per hour, going to come up to State Road 427, as well as the toll road on the Indiana-Ohio state line. The strongest winds just to the south of Angola, north of Waterloo. Moving back down to the south here, Fort Wayne, Concord have some embedded pockets of some stronger winds from the Concord, Newville area coming into Hicksville, Ohio, as well as the north side of Fort Wayne near the Leo Cedarville area. A pocket of some stronger winds perhaps mixing down to the ground there as well. So embedded pockets of 60 miles per hour winds. I don't think everybody in this warning is going to see winds up to 60 miles per hour, but there's embedded pockets where winds could occasionally gust to 60 miles per hour. If you are not in Northeast Indiana, you're currently in the clear. No risk for you at this point in time. We will have to turn our eyes to the west later this afternoon and this evening for round 2 that is expected to develop later this evening after 6 o'clock, perhaps going into the overnight hours. But it's conditional on how organized or how strong that convection will be if it develops, and that's largely determined on how we can destabilize the atmosphere here this afternoon. There's a big question mark there. This rain is moving through a little bit later compared to our morning showers yesterday. Yesterday, we had rapid destabilization yesterday afternoon. That allowed lots of instability to build, lots of energy to support severe weather, including thunderstorms and significant hail. Today, we have a little bit different dynamics at play, but we could have damaging winds, hail up to quarter size, perhaps a $1.25 if we get a strong enough storm. But damaging winds is appearing to be the primary hazard here today. A spin-up tornado can't entirely be ruled out. However, that's a lower end of the risk here today, we feel. Currently 2 warnings. This is for Steuben County, Northeast Indiana, Northern DeKalb County, as well as Southeastern DeKalb County. DeKalb County currently has 2 warnings for 2 separate storms. Northern DeKalb County, you're largely in the clear, except if you're on the county line between Steuben County, DeKalb County, directly east of Ashley. State Road 4 is kind of where the strongest winds are currently going. Right there, right? You see the brighter pinks there, the reds coming up south of Angola, State Road 427, coming up to State Road 49, northwestern Ohio, north of Edgerton. If you have any friends in the Montpelier, Ohio area, some gusty winds coming your way, perhaps up to 60 miles per hour. Back down south, southeastern DeKalb County, northeastern Allen County, embedded pockets of winds perhaps up to 60 miles per hour from the Leo Cedarville area, east of Concord now, coming into the Newville area, Hicksville, Ohio, State Road 37. This is north of US 24. It will likely cross US 24, but likely not until Paulding County, Ohio. If you are in the Woodburn area, the strongest winds look to go just north of town right now. There you can see the new update there. The strongest winds now currently near the Newville area and areas south along State Road 37. Crossing State Road 1 as well in northeastern Allen County, southeastern DeKalb County. Looking around the region, no other special weather statements or severe thunderstorm warnings in the state of Indiana. Currently, we have 2 solely located in extreme portions of northeastern Indiana. Steuben County, DeKalb County, and Allen County. If you don't live in those locations, you are currently in the clear. If you're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Downtown Fort Wayne, you guys are okay for now. We do have a shower, maybe some embedded thunder just to your west, coming along US 30 in Whitley County, west central Allen County. Currently not severe at this point in time, but could have another heavy downpour headed your way. If you're south of Fort Wayne, you're currently in the clear for right now. We will have to watch for perhaps some more thunderstorms coming in later this evening into overnight tonight. Now, this storm coming into Hicksville, Ohio, and Paulding County does seem to be organizing a little bit more. So if you have any friends in northern Paulding County, northwest Paulding County, and southwest Defiance County, I'd keep an eye on this storm right in here as it moves towards Defiance, Ohio. Luckily, this storm is moving out of Indiana. So once it fully moves out of Indiana, our coverage will end. But wanted to come on here, give you guys a little bit of a radar update about what we were seeing currently across the state of Indiana, as we do have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings with the strongest winds now in the Angola area, as well as Defiance and extreme portions of northeastern Allen County, moving towards Paulding County and Defiance County, Ohio, as well as the Montpelier and Edgerton areas as well. Elizabeth says in Woodburn, the rain is really coming down. Yeah, nice little downpour there on the south side of Antwerp there, coming into Paulding County, Ohio, just north of Payne, Ohio, coming up on 49, 127. Have to keep an eye on that storm as well. Something we're watching here with this storm, we kind of have a little bit of a nudger going on where the southern storm in Paulding County is influencing our storm near Hicksville, Ohio, on the Indiana-Ohio line. Have to keep an eye on that, as that could actually work to intensify it here short term as it moves into Defiance County and Paulding County, Ohio. So we'll have to watch that here closely. If you hit play, kind of see what I mean, see how it's kind of running parallel and coming pretty close to this storm here. That can influence the winds a little bit within this storm. So something to watch. We kind of call that a nudger. That is something we're going to have to watch as it moves into Ohio. Currently 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. Also could have some gusty winds coming through the south side of Fort Wayne. You can kind of see this little bit of a line draped right in here, coming near the Fort Wayne International Airport. This is what we call an outflow boundary, kind of a gust front with no rain is what this is. So the winds may briefly pick up. You may feel some cooler air start to impact areas on the south side of the Summit City, but no rain or thunderstorms or no heavy rain expected near the airport right now. So these storms are currently going to be moving away from Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne, you're largely in the clear for now. Have a little bit of a downpour just to the west, coming in Whitley County, Allen County line, north of Aboit. Could have some heavy downpours associated with that, but sub-severe at this point in time, mainly just some heavy rain with that brief shower there. For the rest of the afternoon, looking largely dry across much of Indiana. We will have to watch for occasional showers and thunderstorms to develop later this afternoon in Illinois, which are expected to move into Indiana perhaps later this evening. It's conditional on how strong or how organized those will be able to become. A little bit of a question mark there, and that's largely with how much instability are those storms going to have to work with, how much time is there going to be able to for the atmosphere to destabilize and gain its instability back after this round of storms and rain and cloud cover kind of shielded instability from building across Indiana. So those are some things we're going to be watching and keeping an eye on here this afternoon as these storms move out of Indiana, and instability may be able to regain a little bit back across the state of Indiana. So a little bit of uncertainty with what lies ahead here this evening. The primary hazards, if kind of the storm mode that we're looking at here, kind of a complex of storms, or perhaps a couple different multi-clusters of storms this evening into overnight tonight. Guidance is kind of back and forth on the idea of how organized it's going to be able to become, but the potential is there that a few of those storms could be strong to potentially severe. Damaging winds, primary hazard. Can't rely on a spin-up tornado, depending on how things evolve either, or quarter-size hail. So kind of a low-end all hazards risk here today, but it's conditional on how the atmosphere is going to be able to destabilize and how these storms are going to be able to organize and take advantage of what ingredients are left over by the time they enter Indiana overnight tonight. So the severe weather risk will be kind of on hold for now, with the potential of it returning later tonight after about the 6 to 7 p.m. time frame Eastern time across Indiana. Primarily, the best chances for a severe thunderstorm or a strong storm would be north of Indianapolis, north of I-70 today. There could be a storm or so south of there, but it's conditional. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see where the better ingredients do end up setting up and how storms are able to evolve and take advantage of that. Currently, the strongest winds are now exiting Indiana, coming into Defiance County and Paulding County, Ohio. Strong winds coming into Hicksville, Ohio, US 24, and State Road 49 in Paulding County and Defiance County. You see some bright pinks there coming through the Hicksville Center, going to come near Sherwood and Antwerp, getting in on a strong thunderstorm there, as well as some hail, likely getting some hail in the Hicksville, Ohio area. If anybody's watching from Northwest Ohio, I'd be curious to know what you're seeing there in Hicksville or even in Northeast Allen County, Southeast DeKalb County. Be curious to know if there's any hail in that storm there as it exits Indiana and moves into Ohio. Currently, the strongest winds that were warned for the Angola area, weakening a little bit on radar, but we are getting a little bit further away from the radar as well. Nice pocket of some winds, perhaps up to 50 to 60 miles per hour, getting ready to head into the Montpelier, Ohio area and along the toll road in extreme portions of southeast Steuben County and northeast Indiana. We'll have to see if we get an additional warning for Northwest Ohio or not, or a special weather statement on that. We'll see what the National Weather Service deems for that cell there. But largely the worst of these storms are now moving into Ohio out of Indiana, which is good news. We'll keep an eye on how the rest of the day trends here in terms of how much instability we're able to gain back in the state of Indiana ahead of some storms expected to develop later this afternoon into overnight tonight across Indiana. So we have a couple more days of severe weather risks before we see a break in severe weather next week. Saturday looks to be our last risk for severe weather before things quiet down for a little bit. So we get a little bit of a break next week before potentially turning active once again. Details are not yet known on that. For any growers or gardeners, though, I will give you a heads up. We are expecting some frost or maybe even a freeze Sunday night into Monday for areas north of I-70. Temperatures could range between 30 degrees and 37 degrees Sunday night into Monday night. So we have a couple nights of frost on the way for portions of the northern half of Indiana. Coldest temperatures expected to be across northern Indiana, north of Highway 18. Could get into 30 to 35 degrees. Currently, the worst of these storms are now exiting Indiana, moving into Ohio. If you are west of I-69, you're in the clear. You do have a heavy shower, though, coming on I-69, I-469, just on the west side of Fort Wayne. Subsevere, just heavy rain associated with that. Not really seeing much in the way of cloud-to-ground lightning with that either. The worst of the storms are now exiting Indiana. We will have to keep an eye on how things evolve later this evening. And while storms are now moving out of Indiana, I'll go ahead and show you what the latest model run shows. And I'll be able to kind of show you what we're talking about here today. Currently, while I have you guys live here, have about 250 of you here. Go ahead and give you an inside look here about what we're looking at here later today. So temperatures right now are in the mid-70s, 80 degrees across southern Indiana. If we go ahead and turn back on our model precipitation, you can see showers and thunderstorms across northern Indiana. These are what's working through right now. As we go throughout the rest of the evening here, you can see a little bit of a break with some few showers and thunderstorms developing across Wisconsin and Illinois. This is 8 o'clock here tonight. And then you can see some larger storms. This is 9 p.m. 9 p.m. here this evening. Perhaps a line of storms developing on the Iowa-Illinois border. If I go ahead and go back here, storms moving through now. So the newest model run slowed it down just a little bit. This is 12Z, so this came out around lunchtime, and 18Z, which is coming out now, is not quite loaded in. So it did slow it down a little bit. So a little bit of discrepancy in exact timing. Largely after about 7 o'clock here tonight, we're going to have to watch towards Illinois. Could have a few additional showers and storms moving through. This is 11 p.m. here tonight. Now, this may vary. It's maybe later than modeled, and I would have to lean it would be later versus earlier based on how trends are trending right now. But it gives you a good idea. It could have additional kind of clusters, storm clusters perhaps, moving through Indiana overnight tonight. But how strong will these be is really the big question. How much instability is there going to be left over, or how much instability are we going to be able to build after these storms move out of Indiana and into Ohio? How fast are we going to be able to build back that lost instability that these storms gobbled up in northern Indiana? That's kind of the question mark right now. How unstable are we going to be able to get? How much storm fuel are we going to be able to gather and compile before these storms develop in Illinois and move into Indiana after dark? Once these storms move in after dark, if we have any surface cooling that develops, that creates a stable layer at the surface, and that also limits severe potential at the surface. It keeps a lot of those stronger winds aloft. So, still some questions yet to be answered about what tonight is going to bring. I wish we had better answers for you, but right now it's really a wait and see game. We're going to wait to see how much instability we're going to be able to gain, and wait to see how those storms and how organized those storms can even be in Illinois and Iowa. That'll also kind of give us a heads up about what we may expect here in Indiana overnight tonight across the region. Still, the best chances we do feel are going to be north of I-70. We do think there's a little bit better ingredients perhaps going to be able to build across northern Indiana, especially Indianapolis and north. But still at this time, just kind of a waiting game to see how the atmosphere recovers from this rain. So a lot of our severe weather here recently has been determined on how previous rain showers work the atmosphere or don't work the atmosphere. Though that thesis remains true today. So with that being said, our strongest storms are now exiting Indiana and now moving into portions of northwestern Ohio and southeast lower Michigan. So if you have any friends in the Detroit area, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Monroe County, it looks like, in Michigan. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and these storms are now exiting Indiana. So we're going to see a break here for a while. It's going to get humid, windy again, and now it's just kind of a wait-and-see game to see how are we going to be able to recover. Is the atmosphere going to be able to obtain enough instability to support another severe weather risk later on tonight? That's the question mark we have right now. If we don't have enough instability, it'll likely be some rain and embedded thunderstorms, maybe some gusty winds tonight. But if we're able to obtain enough instability and enough ingredients back into the atmosphere before those storms develop, we could have a little bit higher of a severe weather risk, damaging winds, or perhaps a spin-up tornado. But I do think it's highly conditional, and we're going to just have to wait and see how the atmosphere recovers. And we'll continue to post updates on the page as well. But before further ado, I want to give out a shout out to our sponsor, Rooker's Outdoor Services, based in the Indianapolis area. If you have any tree damage or trees that you want to get taken care of before the next storm comes, trees can be problematic and quite scary during times of whether it's a windstorm like we had about a month ago, where we had 60 to 70 mile-an-hour winds across the state without thunderstorms. That's scary enough as it is, or severe weather in the forecast. Give them a call before severe weather strikes, 317-665-3969, and they can cut down any trees that may become problematic, or any limbs or widow makers that you may have that have potential to fall on your property, sheds, cars, etc. Give them a call. They'll be happy to take care of that for you, proudly serving the Indianapolis and surrounding areas. With that being said, probably going to go ahead and hop off here. We're likely going to see a lull in activity across the state of Indiana for the next several hours, and likely won't see our next chance of rain moving in until at least 7 o'clock Eastern time, perhaps a little bit later, as we await to see if we're going to be able to build back instability and build the ingredients back to support severe weather later tonight. That's the question that yet to be answered. But for right now, enjoy your afternoon, storm-free for now, with a potential risk coming later tonight. That is yet to be determined. We'll continue to post page updates as needed here today. Thanks for following Indiana Weather Online, Indiana Weather Network. I'm Caleb, and we'll see you next time.